to do. My business has shifted. I used to do like more personal development training.
Yeah.
Now what I'm doing is more branding, marketing, speaker training,
Yeah.
and teaching people how to grow out their business and their brand.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I'm encouraging people to move away from is labeling themselves as a public speaker,
Mm-hmm.
and instead label themselves as an expert who uses public speaking to grow. There's too many public speakers out there, and there's too many people who will just flap their gums to hear themselves talk.
True.
And you'll get lost. That people will commoditize you if you do that. So I believe you've got to be an expert in a specific niche.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm encouraging my clients to do is become an expert who uses public speaking and seminars as a marketing vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
and become an expert who uses radio, TV as a marketing vehicle, and then who uses seminars as a delivery vehicle among other delivery vehicles.
That's really good, because we've got people who are part of the diversity networking group,
Right.
and we've got people who are Mary Kay consultants.
Yes.
And instead of having them say, I'm a Mary Kay consultant, we tell them to say, no, you're a beauty consultant. I just happen to use Mary Kay products
Yes.
to deliver the beauty to you.
Yes.
So is that similar to what you're saying that you're working with your client?
Be an expert in a niche.
Yeah.
You've got to be one of the things I'm passionate about. I believe today there's so many choices for our prospects. There's
Yes.
so many people they could go to. I believe you have to position yourself as the go-to expert and be focused on long-term relationships, and that's the way you'll develop business. I believe there's so many options that you have to be the best, and you have to give so much value before you ever ask for a dime.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that amazing? So for those of you who are just tuning in right now, this is This Week on DNG Radio. I'm your host, Sherman Wright. In the chair next to me today, we've got Jase Souder, and he's a mentor, he's a speaker, he's a brander. He helps you get to the next level. And so we're spending a little bit of time just getting a little bit of background on him, finding out who he is. And Jase, as you were saying, public speakers, that's probably a buzzword that people are using a lot, but you're really trying to get people to change their minds and change the way they describe themselves. And so in the next segment, I want to talk a little bit more about your background a little bit and how you actually got there, and then move on to where you're at now and where you can see yourself in the future.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great. Awesome. Good. Hey, well, once again, this is the Diversity Networking Group's show This Week on DNG Radio. Folks, this is going to be a great show today, so I want you to go get your friends, tell them, hey, we've got Jase Souder on today, and he's going to be talking to you a little bit more about how to get the word out about your business and how to become an expert in your field. So we'll be back in just a couple of minutes, folks. Stay tuned.
Clear.
10 minutes, here we go.
All right, and welcome back, folks, to This Week on DNG Radio. In studio today, we've got motivational speaker, keynote speaker, mentor, and he's also a jockey, folks. His name is Jase Souder.
Are you calling me short?
No, you're taller than me, so I'm actually the jockey. Hey, before we get to you, Jase, though, because we're talking a little bit about how you got into speaking and everything else.
Yeah.
I want to remind everybody about what's going on at the Diversity Networking Group. You can actually hear it. Okay. A shameless plug we want to talk about in Team DNG, folks, Team Diversity Networking Group. We're running in the Las Vegas Marathon, which is coming up in December. So if you would like to sponsor or pledge the team as part of running, definitely go to www.diversitynetworkinggroup.com and you can find out all about that. I'm excited about it as anything I've been in a long time. It's been fun training for the marathon and getting everybody else excited about it.
I saw this. You're going to sell logos on your T-shirt.
If people want their name on it, I would do it on my head. But as many of you can see right now, if you're seeing the webcam, you can actually see I've got facial hair now and a little bit of hair growing on my head. But I'm growing out my hair and everything else, and I'll shave it off after the race. But that's just kind of how, you know, the commitment that we've got to the race and everything else.
How much for a tattoo?
For a tattoo, it's going to be washable, so it'll come off. So it's still $35. But we're looking for sponsors, and we're going to be giving away money to Toys for Smiles, which is a great organization,
Cool.
and the other one is Operation Hope for Prisoners. So so we're looking forward to that. So Jase, let's go back to you, and
Yes.
let's talk a little bit about what you do. So if somebody asked, Jase, what you do and why would I come to you, in a nutshell, what would you tell them?
Your cash flow is broken and you need more. You probably don't have the kind of clients you want.
That's two hands.
So, 2 hands up.
Yeah.
So, and probably the clients that you do like don't have cash.
That's 3 hands. Yeah.
And probably you're really, really, really good at what you do, and yet not enough people know about you, and it's not steady.
That's 4 hands right there. So you're talking to everybody in this room, and Million's got his hands up too over there. So you help people get the clients and convert those leads into customers, the right kinds of customers.
Yep. But our philosophy is give a ton before you ever ask for the dollar. Have a ton of value and position as the go-to expert. There's so many options today. So here's what happens, and here's my story real quick. So I started studying personal development, launched my own seminar company less than 2 years later.
Yeah.
And in 1 year, I increased my income from 1,000%. I went from making, before I started studying all this stuff, I told $2,000 in 6 months to generating 96,000 in sales in an hour and a half.
Awesome.
And I did those kind of numbers more than just a couple of times, and I had many weekends I did real well. But then I went through a personal crisis, and I had the economic downturn, went through a bunch of foreclosures, and just went through a big depression personally. And then I had some stuff move in my life. God moved in my heart in 07, and I was so motivated. I said, that's it. I'm just going to help people. The same seminar I charged $2,500. I'm just going to $10. I'm going to give it away.
Wow.
And so I went around to local meetups and groups, and $10, and I had fewer sales at $10 than I had at $2,500.
Sure. Well, let's back up a little bit, because that's a big shift, because something went from charging $2,500 down to $10. Let's back up just a little bit, because I think people miss, you know, how you got started. I mean, you got started with some pretty heavyweight people, who spoke in your life, and you were able to learn all the things that you learned and everything else like that. I mean, just you don't have to name all the names, but I mean, just give us initials.
I don't mind naming names.
Yeah.
I went to a guy named Marshall Silver. I went to his seminars, and then I became his lead trainer. I did a lot of study with landmark education, Brian Clemmer. I was in Anthony Robbins' Platinum Partnership, which is his high-end program. A guy named A.J. Poyden, which is the seminar Yoda. I went to more seminars than probably anybody you know. And one of the blessings I had is when I worked for Marshall, there was about 6 of us that became certified hypnotherapists at the same time and became life coaches and all wanted to do seminars.
Yeah.
So the 6 of us launched our seminar companies at the same time.
Wow.
And my friend AJ says seminars don't change lives, communities do. Seminars can give people the rallying point, but that's not what changes a life.
Sure.
So 3 out of 4 weekends I'd be in a seminar. I'd either be teaching my own seminar or going to another seminar or staffing and speaking at a seminar. And so because my 6 closest friends were all hypnotherapists and life coaches, whenever we're together, we'd just be hanging out, be like, all right, Sherman, what's going on with you? I can see something here. And we would be coaching each other and clearing each other out. And it was constant motivation. And I learned how to do the business. And when I was a kid, you ever go to a church camp?
Yeah.
Remember that just amazing, loving feeling?
Sure.
That was my favorite time in my whole life.
Yeah.
Just everybody's connected and it's loving and just you knew everything would be okay. And the closest I'd ever had to that feeling as an adult was going to seminars. And so I wanted to live that. So I did my seminar company. I traveled around the country and sold my seminars and helped a lot of it was really a profound blessing to help people.
Sure.
10 years later, I'm still friends with people.
Yeah. But it's funny because Jason, you were saying that, because if somebody listening right now on the radio says, gosh, Jase, if you had such great times, then why change from going from making all this money and everything else, and then all of a sudden you got this big change in your life? What was the turning point for you in your life?
So in 2004, I launched Life Tigers. That's my company, and I started making a lot of money, at least compared to what I used to make. My income went up by 10 times, and started traveling the world and finally dating the kind of women I always wanted to date, and got the big expensive watch. And I'd do a seminar and make a bunch of money, and I'd have a lot of people there and be on stage. And then Wednesday I'd be alone in my apartment and going out for beers because I was kind of lonely and depressed.
Sure.
And there was no one to share it with. And I realized it was a lie, that all that stuff's good. Jim Carrey, I love this story. A lot of people say that Jim Carrey wrote this check to himself for $7 million and he manifested it and he visualized it, and they hold Jim Carrey up as the story of manifestation and creating your dream. I saw a quote from Jim Carrey recently, and I'm going to paraphrase, but it said, I hope that everybody in the world gets their dream of being rich and famous so they realize it's not all that's cracked up to be.
Yeah.
And if Jim Carrey says that,
wow.
So I got a taste of that. I was nowhere near Jim Carrey, but I was on have you ever heard of Good Morning America?
Sure.
I wasn't on that show. Oh. But there's a show called The Daily Buzz, which is like Good Morning America for Generation X, and I was on there.
Yeah.
And Nationwide TV, and I've done a bunch of media stuff. But so in my small niche, I was getting famous.
Yeah.
So I had a taste of it, and it was empty. And then along that time, my main market was real estate investors, and that dried up. And so I'm teaching people how to make money, and my money's going down, so it was hard to get on stage. My principles were still true, helping people clean out on the subconscious, and learning how to sell, and learning how to be productive. All of that worked, and yet I started going through a big depression.
Yeah.
And I had a fallout with those 6 friends that I told you about.
Yeah.
And I moved back to Las Vegas, and I was supposed to move to this house right in the heart of the city, but that fell through, and I wound up moving into an investment property I had way up on Ann Road, and I was isolated. And boy, isolation is a bad place to be.
Wow, yeah.
And the devil started
attacking.
attacking.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so everything just started spiraling down, and just everything spiraled and kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
And so then in 2007, I was saved, and I said, man, I just want to pass this on. And so I said, the seminars I used to sell for $2,500, I'm just going to give away for $10. And what I want to share with people is what I learned about how that doesn't work. How I thought if I just help people, it'll come back to me, and I started going broke. And I think that's going on for someone listening to this radio show. They're trying to help people, they have a right heart, and they're going broke doing it. And that was happening to me. But I do have a great story to share. One of the guys that came through my seminar about 3 years ago when I was just doing this thing for $10, I met him recently again. He said he was at his bottom. Him and his wife were going through a hard time, close to divorce. $10, all they could afford. Yeah. And it made a huge difference in his life, and now he's poised to have a multi-million-dollar company, and we just signed a big contract. So, it took a while to pay off, but the rewards financially came 3 years later.
That's amazing. That's a great story. I really enjoy that. And Jase, you know what, I'm like you said, there's probably somebody listening to this, and they're saying, man, you know what, I'm getting what he's talking about. We'd like to explore that just a little bit more and how people can actually get hooked up with you. and maybe you can share a little bit more about what's going on with you now and where you're at and stuff like that in the next segment. Okay. Well, this is This Week on DNG Radio, folks. I'm your host, Sherman Ray. In studio today, we have Jase Souder. Folks, if you'd like to once again be a part of the Team DNG for a run in the Las Vegas Marathon, we're just putting that up there and making sure that you know all about that. Just go to www.diversitynetworkinggroup.com and you can find out all about that. We will be back in our next segment talking once again with Jase Souder, and stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back. One go to, let's see.
So at the end, here we go.
All right, and welcome back, folks, to This Week on DNG Radio. I'm your host, Sherman Ray. And in the hot seat today, we've got Jase Souder, folks. So, Jase, we were talking in our last segment about, gosh, you making a major transition of working with, when you were working with Jay Silver and those guys, you were into hypnotherapy. Then you actually had a huge shift, and now you're saved. Tell me, when did that happen?
07. Before we go on, I have to ask you a question about sponsorship for the marathon.
Oh, okay.
Can I get my logo for my company in eye black under your eyes like Tim Tebow?
Like Tim Tebow.
Can I have you be like
gosh.
Sherman Tebow and wear my company's URL and the eye black underneath your eyes?
You know what? I could do that.
Could you?
Oh yeah, definitely could do that.
You know, if you're watching at home and you want to sponsor half of Sherman's dome, I will sponsor the other half.
Yes.
And we'll make him wear a football helmet.
That's it.
He's racing. We'll paint a football helmet on Sherman's head.
I don't know how long it would last, but it would definitely,
It'll be tripping down by miles.
I know. It's funny because people are running that marathon now. And not this particular one. I think they're running in one next month where they get splattered with like paint and stuff.
Those
like
are
that.
so pretty. Like in India, that one holiday. I think it's India. That one holiday
that the one?
where they have all the flowers. Oh, so
and they just kind of plaster them. And at the end of the race, it's like how much you win by how much paint you got on. So
cool.
Pretty interesting stuff.
Don't try and change the story from us sponsoring your eye black.
I know.
Who wants to go in on it with me? Call me.
If you want to get in on it, you just let us know. Actually, if you want to go to our Facebook site, you can find me there. Or if you go to info@diversitynetworkinggroup.com, you can get your information. And I will really consider doing the whole head thing.
I will consider.
I'll consider it, but definitely I'll do a T-shirt, and we'd love to have you pledge for that.
Cool.
So, you've gone from traveling the world with Marshall Souder.
Well, I worked for him for a while. I didn't really travel the world with him. Okay. I worked for Marshall, was his lead trainer, traveled around America speaking on his behalf.
Okay.
Then in '04, I started my own company, and that's when I really started traveling the world. Okay. And I didn't work for Anthony Robbins. I was one of his students.
Okay.
So I got the experience of having my own seminars around the world. Yeah. You know, what's really cool is, so I have a new focus now, and this year I've already been to London, which was phenomenal. I got engaged in an 800-year-old chapel. Brought my then girlfriend with me, who became my fiance. Hi, Sarah.
Sarah. And
the lovely Sarah and I got engaged. It was so cool in London. So
Sarah's a great.
So what happened was, I still do hypnotherapy. It's a great tool. And in '07, I started giving the seminars away. But what happened was, I thought if I gave it away, it would just come back to me. And I was reading this article once, and this guy said that they were doing this Christian publication, and they made the magazine free. And they said, well, if we do it, God will take care of us. If we do it, God will take care of us. And they were quickly going broke. Yeah. And he said, so then we reorganized, and we started charging a subscription. Yes. And now we make a lot more money and help a lot more people. And the light bulb went off for me. I didn't know if as a Christian I'm allowed to make money, you know, all that stuff, and my money making really went down. So I started studying. You know, I'm giving away the same seminar for $10 that I charged $2,500, but I'm getting less sales. Yeah. So I started studying. I'm even better at what I do now after what I've been through. Yeah. I'm clearer. I've been like at the rock bottom. I actually care about people. I always cared, but now I really care. I'm really committed, because I remember in my lowest times, I thought to myself, who's really there for me? Who's not just in it for the money? Sure. And I vowed when I got back to where I could help people that I would make sure they knew I'm there for them. I have a no one left behind policy. I learned this phrase from my friend Bob Donnell. It's not a matter of resources, it's a matter of resourcefulness. I will work with anyone who's willing to be resourceful and make it happen. I have a no one left behind policy. So even if they don't have the cash, we do. You know, and this is what I encourage you to put in your business. If someone's willing to trade, if they're willing to barter, if they're willing to go payments, if they're willing to hustle to make it happen, as long as it's legal, ethical, moral, then work with them. Yeah. Invest into them, because it will come back to you. And the way I see it now, our businesses, in Vegas, this can be dicey because there's so many transient people, but our businesses are really about helping other people's lives improve. So the way I see it is, your mission is my mission. Helping someone fulfill on their God-given mission in life, helping them get their voice and their message out there and make an impact in the world. Yeah. I want to equip them with the tools to do that. So I started studying how to do that, how to make the marketing work, why my sales went down, not just amount of people who bought, percentage of the bought, why that went down at a lower price. And that's what I'm passionate about sharing with people now.
Wow. So if somebody comes up to you, Jase, and what do they get? So you meet with me. I'm a guy who's got a lot of talent. I got a great message. Nothing's happening with me. What do you do with me?
What I believe today you have to do is you can't just have a business. Yeah. You got to have a huge why. People today, the economy, the way it's moving, people will invest in your business because you have an aligned why or a shared cause. Not just from your business. There's so many places. Like, I need DVD duplication done right now on a new product I just created. Yeah. There's 100 DVD duplicators. How am I going to choose? The person who shares my why. The person who shares my same commitments in the world. The person who I align with on a personal level. So what we've got to do is identify who you are, what you believe in, and then position you as the expert. Now, have you ever had the experience when you walk in the door, someone knew you, trusted you, and loved you, but you never met in person?
Yes.
That's a great feeling. That's a gold mine. So what we do is we help people put the structures together so that if this level, and I'm holding my hands kind of at a neutral level, is all the competition, they're way above the competition. And the way we do that is through education-based marketing. We teach them how to do videos, how to use media, how to provide tons of content, and how to form relationships with prospects so that when they actually meet, it's like the prospect, kind of like you and me. Yeah. You met me over the phone, Googled me, and then started listening to some of my interviews. And so before we even met, you had an idea for who I was as a person.
I'm a suspicious person, though. So.
But it worked. I'm here, right?
Yeah, that's true. So that's true. Yeah.
That's the idea. How can we set up structures that you differentiate from your competition, you serve people, and then you're positioned as the go-to expert? How do we position you? Videos help you create your own products, help you come out with your books, your CD trainings, and then I'm not going to teach people how to be just public speakers, but we're going to teach them how to do is use public presentations to gain more clients. That's the fastest way to grow in the world, I believe. And by the way, a lot of people are doing videos now for YouTube. that's public presentations.
Sure.
And I believe you have to be dynamic. Too many people are really boring on camera and in person.
Sure.
Or they're not eloquent. They don't know how to get the message out.
Yeah.
So we've got to teach them how to get that message out.
That's a great way to say it. You know, it's funny. Like you said, a lot of people have got great ideas.
Mhm.
They just don't know how to get it out there.
Right.
And I'm meeting them all the time. And I'll have people talk to me at our group, and they'll say, gosh, I've got this great idea. And then they'll just kind of, and I'm saying to myself, well, why don't you get it out there? Why don't you do something with it? And they're kind of going, well, I don't know. You know, it's like, so I had a conversation with a lady about that today. Jase, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how would they get a hold of you?
Be a better speaker at gmail.com. That's BE a better speaker at gmail.com, or you can call me at 702-542-5810. That's 702-542-5810. And if you want to check me out, just Google Jase, Jase, Souder, Souder. Just Google me and check out my stuff, and then it would be really an honor and a pleasure that whoever's listening right now that really has that great product or service. Now here's my one caveat. They have to care.
They have to care.
They have to care about their prospects and clients. If they don't care, they're not for me. If they care, we will help you grow your business radically and fast.
Oh, great. Jase, we've just got a couple minutes left. You've got a new product you're pre-launching it right now. What is the name of it, and what's it all about?
Okay, it's called In-Demand Marketing 2.0, and so it's these theories I'm talking about. I went into professional studio and recorded a 2 DVD set that'll teach people how to become that positioned go-to expert, so that people go to them instead of the prospects, so that they develop the kind of clients they love who will actually pay for it. It's going to be, it's packaged up with another 2 DVD set called your one-of-a-kind presentation, and that teaches people. One of the big mistakes a lot of people have is they don't have a formal presentation. Whatever business you're in, as a small business to medium business owner, you must have a formal presentation. Doesn't mean you wear a tie to deliver it, but you have to have it written out. So on one DVD I teach them how to do it. On the other one, I demo it. It teaches how to create instant rapport, how to elicit outcomes, how to link emotions, basically the outcome of it, and why people would want to have this. It teaches them how to get the deal closed. And in a way that the client loves it. Normally, if I can make the special offer now. This whole DVD set's designed to be about $295, and pre-release, I'm going to the printers now. I was saying when I needed a DVD duplicator. Anyone that orders in the next couple of days, it is $100.
Wow.
Just $100.
That's a smoking deal. And if they want to get that pre-release, where do they go to get that pre-release?
beabetterspeaker@gmail.com. There's no website up for it. It's all pre-release. There's no online. beabetterspeaker@gmail.com, or call me at 702-542-5810. And we have one more bonus. Another DVD on pro speaker tips. In case they want to do professional presentations, it's about an hour long, tons of tips for speakers.
Well, fantastic. Jase, you know what? I want to thank you for being in the studio today. I know you've got to run here. We're going to finish up the show here. But for those of you who just tuned in, you missed a great show, you can actually get the podcast of this at www.thecityfm.com, and just kind of, it should be up here in another hour or so. And for those of you who are on our webcam, we want to thank you for being a part of it today. This has been This Week on DNG Radio. I've been your host, Sherman Ray. In studio this week, we had Jase Souder. And folks, I want to thank you for being a part of the show today. We'd like to mention one more time, if you're ever in town, I'd like you to come over to the Diversity Networking Group. And it's a great group. We meet, actually we've got 2 groups that meet during the week. And one meets on Thursdays and one meets on Mondays. But go to www.diversity networking group and you can find out all about it. For those of you who would like to be a part of the Team Diversity training for the running of the marathon, or if you'd like to be one of our sponsors, go to www.diversitynetworkinggroup.com. You can find out all the information about that. Once again, folks, this has been This Week on DNG Radio. I've been your host, Sherman Ray. We will see you again next week on Wednesday at 10:30. We will see you later.